guys, today we're going to do some bath bombs with some easy colors. We are going to be using fluorescent yellow. This is not approved for the U.S., so please, if you're in the U.S., do not sell these. You can use them for personal use, but you cannot sell these. If you go to the Easy Colors website, they do have a ton of U.S. approved colorants that are FDA approved. With that said, I'll leave all the links below, and let's go ahead and get going. In my container, or actually in my mixer, we have 600 grams of baking soda or bicarb, and we're going to try to do this without making a mess. I have my colorant here. This is 0.3 grams of the fluorescent yellow, and it is mixed with 5 grams of witch hazel, which is roughly about 5 milliliters. So what we're going to do is we're going to dump this into the bicarb or baking soda. I like to scrape out all my colorants so I don't lose any of them or lose any of it. We will go through and just scrape it all out. Now, I have not used this yet, so I do not know what color this is going to actually be on the bath bomb. And again, please do not use these to sell in the United States. We cannot sell these. They are not FDA approved. Alright, got that all scraped out. Put it in my stand mixer. And then we're gonna mix. That is actually more of an orangey color. I'm kind of interested to see what it looks like in water. Let's see here. Ooh. This is the time where I go through, just pull this out and scrape from the bottom so I can get everything incorporated. Also, the best thing to do while making bath bombs is using gloves. I personally do not. My hands do get stained, but with a little bit of water and soap, it comes right out. I do sanitize my hands every single time. I do spray them with 91% alcohol. I just have to be able to physically feel my mix. That's just me personally. Let's see here. And we're going to mix it just a little bit more. Yeah, it might look orange in the while it's mixing, but this water is like neon yellow. Look at this. Look at that. That comes from in here. Again, I'm going to repeat this throughout the entire video. You cannot use these in the U.S. You cannot legally sell them. If the FDA finds out, you are going to be in a little bit of trouble. Those fines are not nice. Actually, if you go to their website, they will list all the fines and how much they are and everything. They're not exactly cheap. So let's just follow the guidelines. Oops. And what I added in this, I actually should have added this earlier. That is 10 grams of cream of tartar and 10 grams of SLSA. Right now I'm going to add my fragrance oil, which today it's cannabis flower. I'm going to add 6 milligrams or milliliters, 2 pipettes full. Alright, and I do get my scents from Nature Garden. I do go through and make sure that each and every single one of my fragrance oil is skin safe. You do have to use a skin safe. You don't want your customers to have any kind of like reaction or anything. I'm just going to give this a little whisk here. Alright, so in this, what I have is I actually pre-mixed all of my oils, poly 80 and glycerin. The normal recipe is going to be, or the actual recipe is going to be in the bottom of the description, but it is, I use 16 grams of coconut oil, 6 grams of jojoba, and 6 grams of hemp seed oil. And then on top of that we have, sorry guys, I'm trying to think here, 26 grams of glycerin and 26 grams of poly 80. You do not need poly 80 in your bath bombs. Oh, that's strong. I use poly 80 because it helps with the coloring in my bath bombs, or at least I feel it does. It might not, honestly. But we're just going to go ahead and mix that. Okay, on camera it looks like it's actually a yellow color, but in real life, as I'm looking at it, it's more like a pumpkin orange-y color, if that makes sense. Pick it up, scoop from the bottom. Ooh. First try. There we go. Alright, now that that's good, I add my citric acid, and I use 200 grams. It is always best to weigh your ingredients out, that way you have an exact measurement every single time. Again, scoop from the bottom. There we go. Your mix should feel kind of like wet sand, and I'm not talking like wet sand straight from the ocean, but wet sand, kind of like damp, but not soaking wet. You should be able to take up a little fistful, drop it, and it should hold. That's when you know your mix is done. Also, a thing about easy colors that people have a lot of issue with, and it's not even the colorants themselves. See, that's actually going through and changing color. Is mixing. They have a problem with mixing. The thing with easy colors is you just gotta mix, 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 and keep on mixing. The more you mix, the more the colors pop. This is actually getting lighter, which I'm not disappointed in. But that's just the key, is just mixing. You want to keep mixing until you see absolutely no streaks of color. Yeah, you see how that kind of went lighter? Actually, in the camera, it's fluorescent yellow. But you'll be looking for more of a, this is more of like a peach color, the way that I'm looking at it right now. Alright, so now that we got that mixed in, all nice and incorporated. Now, also, I want to go back to the oils again. Like with my oils, I only usually use about half of what I have posted. I save the other half in case I need to go through and add more in because my mix is too dry. It depends on the humidity and the weather that you have in your area. That does play a key part. Alright, we're going to move you guys over so we can see the molding. I made some black bath bombs earlier, as you can tell. They actually, that black is not black. That black is actually a dark green. I do not like to add any charcoal or anything into it. That's my personal opinion, but alright, let's see here. When I go through and mold, I just go through, grab just a little bit, put it in my mold, and then I press really, really hard so you can get all the details. Just do a good packing. And then I go in with a lighter layer, like this. And then I pack, not as hard, because we want our bath bombs to float. Then I will take like a paintbrush or whatever and take the bottom of it and stick holes. Because we all know air is what makes our bath bombs float. So you just poke a few holes, then I go on top with a lighter layer. Just go in like this. I'm not putting any pressure on it, and then just pat it down. There we go. And then I will take the back of another mold and just kind of lightly scoot it across. Set it on my tray. Tap lightly. You'll hear like a hollow sound when it's completely released. Gently move it up, and boom, there you go. Okay, light layer. Press really, really hard to get into the details. Second layer. Not as hard. Paint stick. Press some holes in here. And then a light packing. There we go. Press really hard. Get in the grooves and all those details. Don't press as hard, but press in there. Press our holes in. And we go in for the lighter packing. This is just how I find that works for me. This recipe works for me. It may or may not work for you. I've tried for years and years to find a recipe that works for me. I live in an area where it could be raining in the backyard and perfectly sunny in the front yard. I have seen it multiple times. Then we're just going to scrape. And smooth. And lift in a perfect molding. Okay, again, we're just going to pack really hard. Not as hard. You don't want your mix in your molds to be so loose. You want them to actually bind together. And then we're going to poke some holes. And then lightly and then smooth. Alrighty, and then I'm going to do my little tester balm, which I don't care if this one floats or not. This is more so for testing colorants. That came from. Alrighty, there we have it. So now always remember with your bath bombs and colorants, depending on what oils you're using or what ingredients you're using, it can affect the color of your bath bombs, and that's with any dyes or anything at all. I know with Easy Colors, I've never had an issue with anything morphing into a different color. I do know with Red 28, alcohol will make it disappear. So you'll have a white bath bomb, and I do believe eventually as it dries it comes back. I'm not entirely sure. I have not tried it. But main key about Easy Colors is just mixing and mixing and mixing and mixing some more. Once you think that you're done mixing, just mix it a little bit more. There's nothing wrong with over mixing. There's no such thing as over mixing. Again, I want to thank you for tuning in, and you guys have a wonderful day.